Hello, my name is Dr. Kelly Shear, and I interview and coach executives for a living. Today, I'm going to talk about how to take feedback, specifically critical feedback, with which you disagree. This is essentially part 2 of the video I posted last week about how to take critical feedback at work in general. I put a link to that video in the description below. You may have heard the phrase, not all feedback is good feedback, and I've seen this to be true. You want to consider the source, the motive, and whether the feedback is helpful to you in your context and reality. Now, how do we qualify feedback as either helpful or unhelpful? This can be tough and it's not always black and white. As a general rule of thumb, I would always suggest thanking the person who delivered critical feedback to you, even if you're not sure about its relevance. I mentioned earlier that you want to consider the source of the feedback, meaning, is this person a key stakeholder of yours? In other words, are they deeply impacted by their interactions with you and your actions? If you're not sure about who are your key stakeholders, I would start with your boss, who is always a key stakeholder. In some situations, it is appropriate to run the feedback by your boss and ask, are you seeing this? Generally, you want to understand your boss's expectations and what is key to getting along with him or her in your direct report-boss relationship. You can say to your boss, this person gave me this critical feedback. It surprises me and I'm not quite sure how to handle it. Or, I see where they are coming from, but this action I am taking is essential to me meeting your expectations. If you feel comfortable, leverage your boss as a sounding board to explore the meaning and impact of the feedback. You may also do this with a close colleague that you trust, like your HR partner or an objective external coach. If the individual providing feedback is not a critical stakeholder and you are not getting this critical or negative feedback from others, maybe acting on the critical feedback won't be a priority of yours, particularly if you feel like acting on the feedback will take you backwards in your progress. For example, if someone is telling you they do not like the changes you are driving, but it is your mandate to drive change in your role and your boss and key stakeholders are giving you positive feedback, there is a possibility that the person who is giving you negative feedback is someone who is stuck in their ways and simply does not like change. I would encourage you to do additional digging. Is this critical feedback a theme among many or just from one person? Is it that the person simply wouldn't be happy with any change you drove? Or are they signaling to you that you may not be bringing others along with you? Or perhaps you need to communicate more frequently to ensure others understand the why behind your change. Essentially, understanding the impact of the critical feedback is key to you understanding how you can make a change such that the impact of your actions is no longer negative. If you feel that the feedback is important and you're motivated to act on it, consider actions you will take in response to the feedback and make a plan. What will it take for you to move the needle so that the negative impact is mitigated? You may not turn it into a strength, but you do not want it to continue to derail you. If you feel the feedback is not critical, still consider going back to the person who gave you the feedback to let them know again that you value their input. You should lay out your reasoning for why you cannot adapt to the feedback. For example, I understand that this change negatively impacts you today, but it will be helpful for the business in the long run, and this is why we have to proceed with it. How can I best support you during this change? That brings us to the end of this video. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, I've created another video linked in the description below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next Thursday.